morning. Thank you so much for being here today. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Cam Guthrie, and I have the honor to be the mayor for the city of Guelph. And I'm thrilled to have you all gathered here today in our Guelph Transit facility. And it's my pleasure to be your MC and to welcome several people that will be speaking to you today. First of all, the Honourable Catherine McKenna is Canada's Minister of Infrastructure and Communities. I did have the pleasure of welcoming the Minister to Guelph when she served as the Minister of the Environment, and so I'm very thrilled to welcome her back as the Minister of Infrastructure. So thank you very much for being here today. Welcome also to MPP for Oakville, Stephen Crawford, who is the Parliamentary Assistant to the Ontario's Minister of Infrastructure, and that is the Honourable Lloyd Scot. Where are you? There you are, right front row. Thank you very much for being here today as well. And of course, no guests here in the room for those that are from Guelph. We have our own MP, Lloyd, Longfield, a familiar face to many of you. Great advocate for Guelph up on the hill, so we thank you for being here. Yes, let's get I have 48 more people to announce. No, I'm just kidding. So, Guelph's MPP, of course, Mike Schreiner is also right here, an equal, strong voice for Guelph at Queen's Park. So thank you very much as our representative. And I believe I did see a few of my awesome colleagues here. I saw, I just heard Councillor Hoffman, and I saw Councillor Bell and Councillor Alt are here, and thank you very much to you for coming today. And our city staff that are in attendance, of course, we have our Chief Executive Officer, our CAO, Scott Stewart, the members of the executive team are here, and of course, behind me, the best looking and the best drivers and mechanics that can get around as our transit, local transit fleet employees. They are the front lines delivering the excellent service every single day to our community. I'm thrilled to see so many transit fleet employees here today, so let's get them around. And we'll have one more clap because, at least in Guelph, we love our members of the media. So I'd like to welcome them here today as well. We have local media here, I can see, so thank you so much for coming to be a part of this announcement. And at the end, we will have an opportunity to have you ask any questions. We'll save them to the very end. So I think it's safe to say that obviously this is going to be a very exciting day for Guelph. So without further delay, I will call upon our Member of Parliament, Lloyd Longfield, to offer some remarks, and after he is done, he will introduce the Minister. Please welcome to the podium. Thank you.
Thanks, Cam. What a great day to be in Guelph. It's a super announcement that we have today that really connects all orders of government, but it also connects Guelph. It connects people of Guelph to their jobs, to their schools, getting shopping done. The transit riders of Guelph have some great news today. I want to especially recognize Catherine McKenna, my colleague from Ottawa, who's come up to make this announcement today. She was in New York earlier this week. I know she's heading out west from here. The Government of Canada is really focused on getting Canadians moving through transit announcements like we have today. It's vital infrastructure for our communities, and it's not just the buses, but it's the infrastructure that we need to wrap around buses. So we're in the facility, and it's great to have indoor parking today too. I mean, it's not quite Calgary weather, but it's still nice to be inside with our jackets off. So over the last few years, we've invested in projects throughout Ontario, including highways, roads, water, and wastewater projects. We've supported transformational transit projects in Guelph and in other communities as well. But today this work is going forward, creating new jobs. Not only jobs in Guelph, but jobs on the production line in Quebec, the production lines in Manitoba, production lines where Canada plays a role in supplying transit to North America. These investments aren't just about pipes and roads, they're about people. The down payment for our long-term prosperity in our communities where residents of Ontario can live and thrive. Today, the Government of Canada is making further investments in our province's transit infrastructure here in Guelph. So to tell you more about this and to give us some of the details, it's my great pleasure to introduce my great friend Catherine McKenna in her new role. As Cam said, going from climate change, greenhouse gas emission reduction targets, now into infrastructure, climate change, and greenhouse gas reduction targets. Catherine, you're such a great champion. Thanks for coming to Guelph.
Well, I'm always thrilled to be back in Guelph, so thank you very much. There's also an added benefit because my parents live down the road in the Hammer in Hamilton, so I got to hang out with John and Pat McKenna last night. I want to start by recognizing that we're on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and a lot of people I want to thank. First of all, Lloyd. Lloyd, you should know that Lloyd is a tireless voice and advocate for Guelph and Ottawa. We have had so many discussions about the amazing things that are going on here in Guelph. I don't even know how many times I've been to Guelph for great announcements, but also to see how you're transforming your community here. And as you said, Lloyd, it's all about people. In this case, it's about people getting around faster, cleaner, cheaper, getting home to their kids, getting to work, and really thinking about what does the future look like. Cam, great mayor here. I like the fact that you said you're a great brander, so good job on the branding, going electric, although I know I owe your team thanks for that. But thanks for what you're doing, because you're really showing to Canadians, to the world, what it looks like to be a city that really cares about your carbon footprint, and really is looking at how do you find solutions. And there are very practical solutions, and to different orders of government, including the provincial government. It's really great that we have you here, Stephen Crawford. Thanks for joining us. I know I had a text from Lori. Unfortunately, Lori Scot couldn't make it, but she said I'll get her ice cream another time. She's very big fan of the ice cream from her riding. It's very good. And of course, to Mike Schreiner, I know how important these kind of announcements are to you and to the Green Party as MPP for Guelph, but also leader of the Greens. And then mostly, thanks to you folks. You guys who do the hard work. We make the announcements, and you actually get to the work of getting people around in a safe way, getting them to work to their homes. So thank you, thanks very much for this. When we think about this announcement, it's kind of funny because I am in this new role, and people said, well, you must be kind of sad that you won't be able to work on climate change. No, this is how you translate when we talk in somewhat of an abstract way about how we're going to talk about climate change, about regulations, about targets, to real things. Literally, the rubber hits the road right here. And I'm really happy to be in a position where I can work with local governments to make a real difference on climate change, but also growing the economy, also improving the quality of life for people. Some of you have heard my top priorities. One is to work collaboratively with different levels of governments to get projects built quickly that improve lives. We did this in this case. There was a little bit of toing and froing in the past week, but we got the whole project ready and ready to announce. Also to make infrastructure investments that grow local, regional, and national economies and create good jobs, exactly what this project will do. And also to look at projects through a climate lens, that we need to be reducing our emissions, we need to be building more resilient communities. Alors c'est sûr, pour moi c'est une annonce qui est très importante. Nous avons fait la décision, l'annonce que nous allons avoir 5 000 autobus électriques tout autour du pays. Alors une grande annonce et le travail commence maintenant. So this announcement fits within what the government Canada is committed to doing, what we committed, which is having 5,000 electric buses across the country. And every day I meet people who are anxious about the impacts of climate change, and they want practical solutions in their lives and in their communities. And when I think of electric buses, what better practical solution could we have that improves air quality, that reduces greenhouse gas emissions, that eases traffic congestion. And this is really helping the people of Guelph, who I do care greatly about the environment, to actually implement practical changes that make a difference. So that's why, finally, you're probably wondering, what am I here to announce? That's why I'm really proud that the federal government is investing more than $40 million in 3 projects that will expand Guelph's public transit fleet while transitioning to clean energy transportation. This is where you clap. And the good news is we're announcing the full project. So the first part of the project is replacing 35 diesel buses. You got your diesel buses, but they are telling you they are going electric, these buses. They'll have long-range electric buses, and they'll be en route charging stations. A second project, which will be to buy 30 more electric buses in the longer term. And then a third project, which is a new 200 bus storage facility with electric charging stations. Really great announcement, a really good package, and you know what? I will be telling this story across Canada about how Guelph is leading the way when it comes to clean energy transportation. So when I talked about this, we always talk about the environment and the economy going hand in hand, and I think it's just important to talk about the case, the economic case. Clearly there's the economic case to get people around faster to their work, they can be more productive, they can get home faster, but also there's a broader economic case. So I was in New York City this week meeting with Andy Byford. That name might sound familiar to you because he's like the superstar of the transit world. He was head of the TTC in Toronto before he got poached by the New York City Transit Authority. And he was talking about their huge investment in public transit in New York City, and we're talking about electric buses. He said this is a huge opportunity for Canadian companies because if you don't know this, you should. Canadian companies are a leader in electric buses. You have New Flyer, you have Nova Bus, and I see them around the world. The sad thing, we weren't seeing enough here in Canada. And so I know you're going to go through a procurement process, but think about the economic opportunity here. And buying these buses, part of a program to buy 5,000 buses, is we're going to be procuring from Canadian companies, an opportunity for Canadian companies creating good jobs in Manitoba, in Winnipeg. We'll be visiting New Flyer later this week, Nova Bus in Quebec City, and this is how we can be a world leader too. That taking action on climate change, it's not just a right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. You just heard that BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, $7 trillion of assets under their management, has said we need to be making sustainability, climate change at the center of our financial decisions. So this is an example. Making decisions that are smart and there's a clear business case for it. World Economic Forum today just announced what is the top risk long-term for business leaders, global leaders. Top risk is climate change. And for the first time ever, the top 5 risks are all related to the environment. So this is an opportunity to take action on climate change, to reduce emissions, to improve the quality of life, and to grow our economy and create jobs across this great country. So I am thrilled to be part of the announcement. And as I say, I will continue to talk about the story of Guelph, the city that is stepping up and taking concrete action on climate change at the same time improving the quality of life for people. So thanks very much. Really thrilled to be here.
So much, Minister. Thank you so much. It's great to have other people telling the Guelph story, so we really appreciate that. We're going to hold you to it. It's now my pleasure to have come to the podium Stephen Crawford, who is the Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Infrastructure and Member of Parliament for Oakville. Please welcome him to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Mayor Guthrie and Minister McKenna. Great presentation, great speech. It's good to be here with you as well. And of course, it's great to be here with my colleague from Queen's Park, leader of the Green Party, Mike Schreiner, and Lloyd as well. Nice to meet you today as well. Guelph is a great town, and not only does it have a great public transit system, but I would have to say it has the best brewery in Canada right here. So it's never a problem to come here, and a great university too, by the way. So with that, I'd like to bring greetings on behalf of the Government of Ontario and for Minister Lloyd Scot, who unfortunately couldn't be here today. And it's an honor, of course, to be with everybody here in this great town, including my transit partners in the back here. You are a city that is consistently ranked as one of the best places to live and work in Canada. I think that's an honor that everyone here in Guelph can share. And one of the ways we are going to ensure that Guelph remains one of the strong and best places to live is that we get people quicker, more reliably, and in a more environmentally friendly way to their places of work or to home. Our objective is to get people to work, a medical appointment, classes to university, or even to the farmer's market downtown, and back to their families on time. That's why our government has improved more reliable transit, a priority in communities across Ontario. Today's announcement of more than $33 million of provincial investment, along with significant contributions from both our federal and municipal partners, means that residents of Guelph will have access to cleaner and more reliable bus services. By replacing these diesel buses with long-range battery buses and installing charging stations, of course we are reducing greenhouse gases. And by adding capacity to Guelph's fleet of buses and providing new bus storage facility, the city is providing more frequent bus services, which means more people are going to ride the bus. We remain committed to investing in key projects that will really make a difference to the people of Ontario. We are investing more than $7.3 billion in transit infrastructure over 10 years through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. This is an unprecedented investment in this province. Today's announcement is the first of many with our federal and municipal partners that will follow to strengthen our communities, provide more reliable infrastructure, and create new jobs all across this great province. I want to thank the City of Guelph for their significant investment in these projects. I'd also particularly like to thank the federal government for approving these transit projects that will help get the people of Guelph to their destinations faster, more reliably, and efficiently. And we welcome federal approvals for projects like these to improve transit infrastructure across our communities. As part of the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, the province has nominated 201 transit projects for municipalities outside the Greater Toronto and Hamilton region, and the federal government for approval under the public transit stream. The province has also nominated 5 priority projects in the Toronto and York region. To date, Ontario has nominated a total of 351 infrastructure projects under 3 streams of the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. One of which, of course, is the public transit stream we're here today to talk about, but also 2 other streams, the cultural, community, and recreation stream, and the rural and northern stream. Projects that will get people moving to help grow the economy. As we work together to reduce congestion, improve communities, and connect neighborhoods, business to people and jobs, we're making life better for all of us and the people we love. Let's continue to work together to help build a better foundation for the infrastructure of our cities so that our communities, our residents, and our children can thrive now and into the future. So again, on behalf of Premier Ford, the Government of Ontario, I want to congratulate the City of Guelph for this enormous transformation in power to the environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your words as well on behalf of the province. We really appreciate it. So I'd just like to take an opportunity now on behalf of Council to officially thank the Government of Canada and Ontario for your support on these projects. Council is committed to affordable and sustainable transportation options here in our city. We're committed to a strong, reliable transit system, and we're committed to transitioning to a clean energy transportation overall system across our city. The funding announced today is a key part of the puzzle in terms of how we move forward on those priorities. And with this funding, it's entirely a new ballgame in terms of what we can achieve and the pace at which we can achieve it. So this really is a milestone moment for us when it comes to transportation and transit here in the city of Guelph. A few months ago, City Council adopted a new strategic plan for Guelph, and the title of that plan is called Future Ready. The funding announced today will help make sure our city and its transit system truly is future ready. This is exactly what our strategic plan is all about. It's a perfect example of how we are taking our big picture goals but actually now putting them into action. So once again, on behalf of Council and on the City of Guelph, thank you very much to the Minister, the Government of Canada, MPP Crawford, and the Government of Ontario. This is an exciting day for our city, and we appreciate you making the trip to our city to share this news. So on behalf of our city again, thank you very, very much. So before I open the floor to media questions, I do want to mention that after some media questions that may occur, we will be having a group photo. I'll be calling people up so that we can have a group photo for that as well after the questions are done. And before I do that, I do want to recognize Robin, our manager here. I just want to thank you very much for prepping today, but prepping our city. You are doing a fantastic job with all of your staff, and it's noticeable on the ground. We hear the good work that you're doing across the city when it comes to transit. So thank you very much for all you're doing. With that, I'd like to ask our speakers to come on up, and I can try to help with any questions that might come from local media. Is there any questions at this time? All right, we got Adam Donaldson.
My math isn't like Stephen Hawking level, but it seems that the city's paying for more than half of this. Can I ask about the origins of that in terms of why the onus seems to be falling disproportionately on the city to help pay for these upgrades?
So I would like someone to correct me if my math is also wrong, but I believe it's just over $100 million is being allocated from the city. And I look, that is just around half or just about over half as the math is that you indicated. That is a very positive thing to have both the provincial and the federal government cover the other almost half. Mm-hmm. I find myself saying that, thank you, Lloyd, if someone were to say something cost $100 but I'll pay $50 of it, you take them up on that offer. And so that's exactly what our city is going to be doing. It also, as I mentioned in my remarks, it's about the pace, right? And if we look at the pace of how we can actually put these things into action, if we were to have that total cost on the local level of government from the property taxpayers, the pace would never come. It would be so long in the future. Having the other orders of government come here to provide that other funding help us to move faster to get this implemented as quickly as possible for the citizens of Guelph.
Speaking of pace, when can maybe people who take the bus start seeing some of these improvements, like start seeing more buses?
Sorry, I'm really sorry, I just didn't hear the question.
More buses, when?
Oh, I think I would like to start looking at the procurement options as quickly as possible. Transit, yes, the heads are nodding. We're going to get on this right away.
And the building?
Oh, just one second. I think Lloyd would like to mention something in regards to that.
When we look at the community investment, yes, the orders of government from federal and provincial are helping things along, but when you look at the operational costs of these buses and the lifetime value of the buses to the community, the city's going to be actually doing very well in the future years.
Sorry, just asking about the new facility, the timeline for that, has an area that designated
So the new facility is something that had come up just before budget in December. It would probably be tied in around the future readiness of what's called the operations hub for the city. Council did have a more focused discussion in regards to the actual hub part than the other operational parts. And so now staff are going to be taking that away and getting an update on that because of this announcement and making sure that Council is informed and we inform the community on the next steps in regards to the hub.
Is there a calculation made on the amount of carbon emissions being used?
So I don't know if we have that answer right off the bat, but our staff, of course, could probably help with that because we have people that are specifically their role is to actually do that in our energy office and climate change office. Yes, as Lloyd has just mentioned, it would contribute greatly to our stated goals of the net zero as well for the community. I'm sorry, I'm Graham from Guelph.
So there were 5 projects that were submitted for this funding. What happens to the projects that didn't make it through to this stage?
We're very pleased that we won on this one. Yeah. As anything that comes to from a municipal level up to other orders of government that are application based, the other levels of government need to make their decisions on what crosses the finish line or what doesn't. And so when we, as a municipal government, look to make applications to other levels of government, we're making sure that they're all priority issues. And of course, announcements like this just help with this particular priority, which happens to be around the buses and transportation.
So those 2 other projects, is the city not going forward with them, or are you going to seek funding in the future for them?
So, I mean, I don't know knowing exactly these projects, but just to explain how it works, that we have historic investments in public transit. We work with the province and the city. The province submits lists. So the good news or bad news, I mean, it's all good news, I think, but I can have we have a lot of projects on our plate from the province because they've really prioritized investments in public transit. So the fact that certain projects at this point, they haven't been announced, it depends on working with the province, working with the municipalities, but there's certainly going to be many more projects announced across Ontario. They're going to make a real difference. And I should just take up one point I meant to make it. This isn't just about getting people around faster, quality of life. It's not just about greenhouse gas emissions, but it's also about saving money for the city of Guelph, because when you have electric vehicles, the whole point is it's actually cheaper over the life cycle of the buses. So a really good story overall.
If I could just add to what Minister McKenna said. So there are further intakes. So to your question, just because it's not approved in this particular intake, it could be approved in further intakes, and there will be further intakes. So we'll see in the future. And
last question of the.
Just on that one, Graham. Just to add one more. Give the politicians a mic, and this is what happens. When we look backwards at other investments that have been announced in previous years, so the new fare boxes, which are now on the vehicles, are investments from prior years coming forward, the new transit stops, the shelters on the transit. So this is part of a continuum that Guelph Transit's been managing. They're bringing forward the projects. We try and prioritize from the federal and the provincial level, but we're not finished. And we're in the middle of a transition right now, that this is a big step forward for us today.
One more. Of the 73 million-ish that's coming to the city, how much is going to each of the 3 projects?
Yeah, that's right. We can give you actually the breakdown in a chart form. That's better than me to try to explain a chart.
Perfect.
Yeah. Jim?
Yeah. You were actually, you will be talking about this announcement. Have there been other announcements already similar to this, or this is really one thing?
Well, so this is a good question. We are seeing that cities, municipalities are moving to electric buses. I did an announcement in Brampton, but the scale of this announcement is significant. So for a city the size of Guelph, to announce that they're going to do 35 buses immediately, then they're going to expand their fleet with 30 new electric buses on top of that. That is very significant. And as I say, our government is committed to 5,000 electric buses across the country in a short time frame. So I also have to deliver, so this is part of showing how we are delivering on our commitment. And it's also, I talk to folks, including folks in Guelph, and they really want to do right by the environment. So I think you also have the support of the community. The community of Guelph is really behind this. They understand that the future is now, and this kind of investment, as I say, it's good for the environment, it's good for quality of life, and it's good for the economy.
One more.
Since we have two ministers here. I want to ask about the regional transit picture because more buses in Guelph is great, but I can't take a bus from Guelph to Hamilton or Guelph to Niagara, and I'm wondering if there's any change to that on the horizon in terms of like federal or provincial action.
That's something we're looking at as we speak. Regional transit. Obviously, our government has been very committed to transit here throughout Ontario. We've got a $28.5 million investment in subways transit in Toronto, which is the biggest ever investment in this type of infrastructure in North America. So clearly, it's a priority of our government to get people moving quicker, more efficiently, more environmentally friendly. Being here today is just yet another example. In terms of regional transportation, that's something we're doing right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. So we will now corral everyone for photo ops, and then we're going to go on a brewery tour.